Hey everyone, we're going to take a few minutes today to prepare you for having conversations about suicide. That you can, if the topic comes up, you can be informed, you can know some facts, and you can have thought a little bit about it ahead of time. So, a few things. The first is that lots of people have suicidal thoughts. There's about 10 million people in the last year who thought about suicide. And not only just thought about it, but seriously considered it. That means that about 1 in 20 of us, 4%, or about 1 in 20 of us seriously considered suicide in the past year. That's a lot of people. The number of people who die by suicide is way, way, way too many. There are about 45,000 people that die annually from suicide in the United States. So that's way too many, and the beyond vast majority of people who have serious thoughts about suicide never go on to kill themselves. Thinking about serious thoughts of suicide, that's then also not including those people who never thought seriously about it, but who had suicidal thoughts. So there's a lot of people having this experience, and most people are not going to harm themselves. That's really hopeful. At the same time, it would be really nice if we had some better and more useful ways of dealing with this experience. And I think by people knowing that it's really common and that it's a sign of despair, that helps open the door to other possibilities. You look around the room, you think about your family, that's a lot of people. The second thing I want you to know and have in the back of your head is that suicide is a way that people manage intolerable emotions and situations. In the same way that people drink when they can't cope, the same way that people use eating or other ways to manage their emotions, this is the purpose of it. And your brain learns over time to use suicidal thoughts as a way to escape. The trick being that if your mind goes to this, you want to not let it do this. You want to catch it when it starts going that direction and prevent your brain from building neural networks that support suicide as an option. The thing that I want to make sure you know, besides how common it is, and besides that it's a response to a difficult situation, that it's a coping mechanism, I also want you to know that there are things that you can do that are really simple to help reduce the likelihood of suicide. This conversation I'm having with you is not about gun rights. And I also want you to know that 50% or around 50% of people who die by suicide used a gun. And very often those are guns that are in their own home. So if you're somebody who's thinking about suicide, you should consider taking the gun out of your home, if that's what you've been thinking about, and storing it somewhere else temporarily. The idea being that people make decisions when they are feeling really bad that they would never otherwise do, and those decisions impact other people's lives. And they're decisions that people would not have otherwise made. It's important for people to know that if you kill yourself, the risk of suicide for those around you goes up. I think it's important for people to know these facts. Lastly, you can make a difference. We know restricting access to lethal means, including guns and bridges, that reduces the likelihood of someone dying by suicide. But we also know that sending compassionate and caring messages to people, letting people know that you're thinking of them, can help prevent suicide. That's non-demanding, that's non-judgmental, that's not asking anything. It's not even asking if you're okay. It's letting someone know that you're thinking of them and that essentially they're with you in that moment. Those are 4 things that are really important to know when you talk about suicide. It's not uncommon. There's definitely hope because most people who have suicidal thoughts do not die. It's a response to feeling like you can't escape, but there also are ways to manage that experience, including taking a look at nowmattersnow.org for ideas. Lethal means make all the difference, and taking them off the table for the time being, really important. Guns, pills, nooses, whatever it may be. And then lastly, you can make an impact. What if you sent one caring message a day to somebody and just said, hey, I'm thinking about you, and that's it? If we all did that, things would be dramatically different. So these, again, 4 tips for talking about suicide. This is your skill of the week, and this message is for Sarah.